Black spending matters.
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 Black people wake up.
I like it, but welcome to this edition of Black Spending Matters. We are your hosts. I am Jamil Patterson, and over to my right, we have the founder of Black Spending Matters,
Joy Tyson.
And in studio today, we have a very special guest, and she is the founder of Cranberry Crunch. How you doing?
Pies and tarts.
Miss Norvella Brooks, you guys.
Oh, hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. So, let's see. We're going to just jump right into it.
Sure.
Norvella has a pie business, and so we want to know a little bit more about your pie, this Crunchberry pie. What's the history?
So, my family grew up on the pie. My grandmother was pretty much the baker and cook for our family, and during the holidays, she was the primary person that would always house and host all our dinners, family dinners. So after having a delicious dinner, she would bake pies, cookies, and just different desserts. And the one that stood out the most amongst our family members was the Cranberry Crunch pie. And so as time goes along, you know, everybody expects for it to be at these dinners, and it's nice that I have now been able to introduce it to, you know, outsiders of the family, the immediate family, and just gotten good response. So it all started with my grandmother.
Right. Mm-hmm. So that seems kind of, you know, she said I was gonna freestyle, but you know, that seems kind of ancestral. You know, like passing it down the line.
Oh yeah.
And you know, pies, which is interesting, it's very much a part of our culture, especially like when it comes to like Thanksgiving and all of the holidays.
Right, that sweet potato pie.
Right.
Yes.
Peach cobbler.
Right.
Mm-hmm. The pecan pie.
Right.
Cranberry crunch pie.
She made a peach cobbler every now and then. And I have to say that our family wasn't a big pie family. We didn't make apple pie, berry pie, but this particular pie, the Cranberry Crunch pie, we expected it, we wanted it, we said we have to have it.
You can't wait to eat it.
We couldn't wait to get it. We couldn't wait till the holidays. And over time, I started to notice that my grandmother had to bake more and more as the family grew, and you know, just. So my grandma she was very organized, so she would just have cakes and cookies all stacked up on the tables, and I can honestly remember seeing at least 40 Cranberry Crunch pies at one given time.
See, the interesting
40?
thing about that too, because
Yeah.
I remember that little setup too, though, with the cookies and the pies and stuff, all, you know, and you better not touch it too early.
Yeah, that was my grandmother.
That's a lot of pies, though. 40 pies. Was she making it for the church or?
No.
No?
No, I'm serious. Just family members.
Wow.
Because we would say, can I just get 3 pies, Granny? Granny, can I just get 5 pies? And I mean, it's such fond memories. That's what makes this whole business for me very special, because of just the intimate memories and details of family members discussing this particular pie.
Right.
And people would hide them under the bed, in the closet, in the trunks, under their pillows. I mean, people just had stashes and purposes, and people still to this day. So now that my grandmother is deceased,
My condolences to her.
thank you very much. She left this thing in my hands, and now family members expect me to. They like, I need 5 pies. I need 5. I need 10. I need them. So it's
So
nice.
what made you decide to start? What point in time did you actually decide, you know what, I'm going to start a business?
It's sad to it's sad for me to understand that even before I legitimately started the pie business, like went down to City Hall and got the applications and licenses and stuff like that, it was 3 years prior to that I actually waited because of, fear of starting a business always comes with not wanting to do things yourself.
Right.
And then my uncle thought about it, and he skirted around with the idea, and so it never materialized. And we went to La Cocina right here in the Mission and took an introductory course about how to start, but we just never got it rolling. I can benefit. It was this one particular business called 60 Minute MBA with these two guys, and their whole mission was just do it. Just do it.
Like Nike.
I'm telling you, just start baking them and just start selling. Just get the product out there. That was their whole thing. Whatever you want to do, whatever service or product you want to, to start a business with, just do it.
Right.
Don't let nothing hold you back. Don't worry about all the marketing and the business plans and all the licensing. Just do it. And
Well, you black.
jumpstart.
You black, so you selling pies. I mean, that's marketability itself. It's kind of like soul food, but then also, yeah. I mean, with the, and I think some of the marketing too is, the experience you take from your grandmother and things like that. That resonates with Americans in general, right? But then also, because you brought up the mission, right? And here's a connection that I want to make too is that I think culture markets itself. The fact that you're selling pies and it's also a part of a black culture. It's just like, with the mission. They might have a taqueria in Bayview, but I might want to go to the Mission and get a taco just to be in that Spanish,
the element.
Yeah, the Spanish experience, at the same time. So it's like I see the cultural aspect of your business as well.
And speaking of a cultural aspect, as an African American woman starting your business, how difficult has it been for you? Has it been difficult? Are people receptive?
I think people are very receptive. Number one, food goes a long way.
Everybody gets happy with food.
Everybody gets happy with food, right? So wherever your background has brought you to this point in time as it pertains to food, most people have very good experiences. And we live in the Bay Area. So living in the Bay Area alone, we are exposed to that cultural aspect on many levels. And so in a sense, we're really lucky individuals to have grown up here and exposed to so many delicacies that we
That's
can grow
true.
within our own household. But
That's
that's
true.
not to say that our grandparents, everybody migrated here. Everybody has come with some traditions around
Right.
food or learned them. So my family was no different. My grandmother was from Oklahoma. And then she went to Texas, and then she came here. But she just knew how to cook really well.
Okay.
You see, the thing with food too, right? Because what they say, and I ain't trying to go to, but they say prostitution is the oldest hustle profession. But I actually think food is the oldest hustle because whoever was the first people here, you had to eat.
That is very true. You know what? You might be right. You might be right. I mean, I bet there's some legitimacy to that. I mean, nobody's ever thought of that.
I always put my own spin on things anyway.
Well, you think about it. I mean, when we first touched this land, I'm pretty sure we were very unfamiliar with what, was brought to, our ancestors. And there you go. We started developing things that they gave us with what we knew.
We have to
Even
use
in
what we have.
preparation or vegetables or whatever.
Right, even food transcends too. I mean, even to religious and ceremonies, festivals, food will always be involved. I mean, even with we take communion, they give you the bread and they give you the wine, a little bit of food, So.
Yeah. Food is definitely community.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
It is definitely community. And we want to keep that tradition. And so it was easy to introduce the business with a food product.
Okay.
It's sweet. We are addicted to sugar. And
I'm starting to cut out mines though. But yes.
there's so many more benefits to, aspire to when you start a business, and to keep that fever going. And if you're thinking about it all the time, when I first started, being an entrepreneur, it's the passion. Like I really do feel it in my stomach.
Okay.
Like you work your day-to-day job to make ends meet and that's for, but when you really want to engage in an activity, you don't stop thinking about it. It's exciting.
Right.
It's very exciting.
But even the anxiety kind of reinforces, because it's like what you said before about the negatives. You kind of emphasize on that a little bit. But, even the negatives reinforce the positives, because you really get out there and you really experience the challenge. Yeah. The challenge, right? Yeah. And that's so liberating.
It is. Because in your challenges when starting a business, you're learning.
Right.
You're learning. You're going to have so many downfalls, pit holes, obstacles.
Right.
Don't let nothing stop
You're
you.
going to fail your way to success. I love that fiery entrepreneur spirit that you have. Definitely.
I want to say this because in honor of my mother, bless her soul, my mom, when I was around 10 or 11, my mother had an entrepreneurial drive. She worked for Muni, and she worked for Laguna Honda. So she held those 2 city jobs to retire on, but in her spare time, she had that creativity that she wanted to take hold of, and then it was through entrepreneurship. And my mother was a clown. My mother, I have pictures, and I remember, she was a party clown for kids. My mother went to El Rancho. You guys probably too young to know El Rancho on Geneva Avenue.
Kind of ring a bell, yeah.
Oh, wasn't that a store?
El Rancho was a grocery store.
Yes, a grocery store right on by the Cow Palace.
Exactly.
I remember El Rancho.
She went in there and she told those people, she loved the garden. She's like, I will clean the whole radius of this whole block of where this store is and clear all the weeds and plant flowers. She recruited me and my nephew to help her. We hated it.
Wow.
We hated it. We hated it. She had an in-home care service. She bought another house on the street. We lived on Sawyer. She bought another house on Sawyer and started in-home care service, for elderlies. It didn't get off the ground because she recruited a sister and a brother who didn't pan out. But she just, and I'm watching her. I'm just watching her. Just watching her taking care of her business, just raising us, just.
Right. So you got it honest.
I got it
honest.
I got it honestly.
You got it in you.
That's right. It's in the bloodline.
It's in the bloodline.
So can you tell us how someone can place an order?
Absolutely. CranberryCrunch.com is the website. You can also reach me through direct messaging through like Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The telephone numbers are located on those social media sites. And yeah, this is my season. It's nice to have a business that's kind of seasonal. So cranberries, it's a berry that grows and harvests through October, starting in October, and you can only get fresh cranberries through the end of, I think the end of December or the beginning of January.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was looking up some of the health benefits of cranberries. Please. Can you expand on that?
Oh my gosh. So cranberry is good for fiber. It's an antioxidant. It, people, urinary tract infections. It's not a cure-all. If you have those symptoms, please
go to the doctor. Right. Don't just buy the cranberry crunch.
Yes.
Call your doctor.
Yes. I like that the cranberry crunch pie is made with 2 of the healthiest foods, which is walnuts and cranberries. And I used to, I haven't put it on too much marketing materials, but it's a superfood pie. You know what I mean? It's probably one of the healthiest pies you can eat.
Right.
And
I agree. And it's very, very good. You can take it and warm it up and have you a glass of milk. It's just
Coffee,
delicious.
Tea, creme fraiche, whipped cream.
Take it from me. I can vouch for that.
A la mode.
Yeah, I bought the pie. It was Thanksgiving or Christmas, I can't recall, but I couldn't even take it. It was gone. It was gone. So I have to get some more. My uncles, everybody were just like, where did you get this pie? It is so delicious. I mean, they loved it. So we will definitely get some more pie from you this season. So. Black Spending Matters is dedicated to helping Black entrepreneurs advertise their products and services. We are striving to provide a platform that Black consumers will utilize in effort to support Black-owned businesses. As you all know, Black businesses continue to struggle to maintain in today's economy where Blacks spend over $1 trillion on purchasing products and services in the U.S. There is no reason we as a people should struggle to have our own businesses when we possess that much spending power.